Hello and welcome. In this video we will cover importing DXF and DWG files into Vectorworks. Over the course of this video we will specifically look at importing the DXF DWG file, referencing it, saving and importing settings, checking the import, and touch-ups to the end product, including resizing objects. The first thing we need to do is enable our internal origin marker so we can keep an eye on the origins, or the 0,0 location in both world spaces. To do this, navigate to Tools, and then Options, and then Vectorworks Preferences. Under the Display tab, check the box next to Show Internal Origin Marker. Then click OK to save your changes. Notice that our new origin marker in the center of the document appears. To import a DWG or DXF file into Vectorworks and change import options, we first need to open one. Navigate to File, Import, and select Import Single DXF DWG. Now navigate to the file you wish to import, select it, and click Open. We are now presented with the Settings window, specifically the Primary Settings tab. The most important thing we need to do here is change the unit settings to match the measurements of the imported file. If you don't know, it's safe to assume most US files will be imperial, or feet and inches. Otherwise, it will likely be metric. If you need to make the Kessel run, you can even use parsecs. If we choose incorrectly here, we can change it later. In this example, we'll be using Determine Automatically. As most cases, this will find out what the units are and add them in for us. We recommend Determine Automatically unless you are able to find the units used in the document to begin with, which is the superior choice. If you haven't noted, or you can find out the units from the original document creator, go that route instead. If not, Determine Automatically. Leave the Set Vectorworks Units to Match unchecked, as most of the time you will want your Vectorworks document to retain the unit system it's already set to. Convert Objects To allows you to set the appropriate setting for your file, 2D, 3D, or both. 2D and 3D is usually the best bet. 2D 3D conversion resolution can be set to low or medium in most cases. The higher the resolution, the larger the file size and performance impact. For model space, set it to this scale, and then select Scale. Set it to the same scale as your other design layers. Essentially, this area is just asking what scale to make the design layer that it's going to create. I often use 1:1, so I'll select that and click OK. An alternate way of importing a DWG or DXF file is to simply reference it. Referencing is an advanced topic all on its own, and will be covered separately in another video. Next, we will cover the Graphics Attribute tab of the Import DWG DXF dialog. First, navigate to the Graphic Attributes tab. Now our first option is Colors and Line Weights. Map colors to line weights can be left unchecked in most cases, as this is mostly used for old versions of AutoCAD to get the line weights correctly imported. Set colors to black and white is self-explanatory, so set this to your preference. Manually scale all dash lengths by should usually be checked and set to the suggested length for the most readable file. In this case, 1. Import as solid line when gap is smaller than should be checked and set to the default value to keep the file clean and prevent rogue lines in the document when elements in the drawing aren't perfectly drawn. Import textures and texture mapping should be checked if you want your textures to be imported as well. This will be made available when you have texture data in the DXF or DWG file. Import layers should be set to classes. It's important to remember that AutoCAD layers are equivalent to Vectorworks classes. An add prefix to DXF layers can be checked and a value entered to help organize our file. Here, I will use Z, so I'm aware that all of my imported layers to classes are Z-something. If rays or construction lines are detected, you will have the ability to put these objects into the Guides class, so check this box if it's available. And finally, the only thing we need to worry about in the Objects tab is optionally import points as loci or symbols. Loci is usually preferred as it's more suitable for site model data, but you can switch over to symbols if they're more applicable. Before we close out this dialog, let's jump over to the Location tab and make sure that we are selected Center First Import. This is the recommended option, and it takes a lot of confusion out of the import process as it shifts the user origin to match the file, keeping coordinate values where they should be. Now, chances are likely if you are importing one DXF DWG file, you'll probably import more. So let's save these settings by selecting Save at the top, give it a name. I'll name it New Settings, and then click OK. We can call these settings up later by selecting the settings we saved in the drop-down. To finish the import process, click OK. When the import is complete, you'll be provided with a window that says Import Succeeded. Click OK to continue. And if we zoom out, we can see that our DXF DWG file has imported fully. Now that our file has been imported, let's check to make sure it was imported at the proper scale. To do this, go to the DIMS Notes toolset and grab the tape measure tool. Find something with its dimensions marked in the file, or something you know the real-world dimensions of. In this file, there are a bunch of lengths listed all over, so I can use one of those. Or, I know most doorways are something around 2.5 to 3 feet wide. Click once to start the measurement, and move your cursor to the other side. You will see the length listed in the data bar. That looks right, 22 feet 7 inches, as is listed right here below it. You can press the X key to return to the selection tool. If your measurement doesn't match the file, we can scale the drawing to match what it should be. Double tap the X key to deselect all, then navigate to Modify, Scale Objects. Check Symmetric by Distance, click on the Distance button, and then click the beginning of one point and then the end. Once you click twice, the dialog will reappear, and after measuring, you will see the current distance as updated to your measurement. In this case, 22 feet 7 inches. If I know this distance is actually 30 feet, I can put in 30 feet here, and it will adjust to scale as needed. Make sure you check Scale Text, and if it's an option, select Entire Drawing, as we want the entire drawing to scale. Click OK when you're done. It will ask you if you want to scale the entire drawing. Select Yes. Now that the file has been imported and scaled correctly, we should clean it up, as importing can often bring in a bunch of duplicate info and classes. Luckily, there's an easy tool to help us get rid of all this extra info and lines, while retaining the important pieces. Navigate to Tools, Purge. Make sure you have checked Components of Groups, Components of Symbols, and All Other Objects. I like to leave Preview Items that will be purged checked to see what all was duplicated on the import. Click OK to purge these components, and you'll be shown a list of objects that will be deleted. In this case, we have a little over 1,200 objects that will be deleted. Click OK to purge these components. To simplify our imported DWG or DXF file, we can use the visibility tool in the basic palette to hide elements of our imported file we don't need. To use this, select the visibility tool, then change the mode to Classes and Invisible Mode. If you hover over an object, all objects in that class will highlight in red, and clicking will hide all of the highlighted objects. Holding the V key will show you all of the objects you've made invisible. If we go to the mode of the visibility tool and switch it over to visible mode, objects clicked with V held will make them visible again. Thank you for joining us, and don't forget to visit kbase.vectorworks.net for more video tech tips and other technical articles. Thank you, and have a great day.